Hello everyone and welcome to Stage Analysis, where I look at the background to my favourite games. Now what is Stage Analysis, you ask? Well, it's a little show I've concocted to talk about stages, mostly from older video games that I enjoy. It all goes back to when I was a child playing on my Super Nintendo, playing games like Mortal Kombat and Castlevania, and thinking to myself, what's the story behind these stages? Here I'll provide my personal opinions and share some fun facts about the backgrounds I analyse. As you can see, the first episode is about the original Mortal Kombat. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone watching is familiar with Mortal Kombat, but if you're not, let me give you a quick rundown. Mortal Kombat was released in arcades in August 1992. To say it was a global sensation is an understatement. The game was so huge that a rating system was put in place because of it, the ESRB. It was so violent that parents were in uproar, condemning the game almost immediately for its gratuitous display of gore and reckless disregard for human life. But this controversy just made the game even more popular. Looking back, Mortal Kombat seems pretty tame nowadays, but I have to give credit where credit is due. The game is pretty standard compared to other fighters, but there is no doubt that it has left behind a great legacy. Now, enough of the history lesson, let us get into the stages. There aren't a whole lot of arenas in Mortal Kombat 1, but they're all great in different ways. One of the things I like about the MK1 setting is how normal it is. It's set in Earthrealm, which in future games takes a backseat to the other realms like Outworld and Netherrealm. It's different, but it has its own unique charm. The first stage on the lineup is the classic Courtyard. It's pretty basic and self-explanatory. It's just two dudes fighting in front of what looks like a group of monks or students and Shangs on his throne overlooking the fight from afar. First things first, let's talk about the minor details. I really like the mountains in the background. They sort of give you a sense of scale of the island, plus they're quite pretty and serene looking. It provides a stark contrast from the gruesome fighting. Secondly, we have the cool dragons facing towards Shang Tsung. They look real nice. I like dragons. Lastly, it honestly took me a while to notice the palace guards in the background. I swear on the Super Nintendo version these guards are a lot smaller and a lot harder to notice, but because in the arcade version they're huge. Anyway, I always thought these guys looked pretty cool. I'm pretty sure their mask designs are based off the yin-yang with the black and white colouring. Now on to the bigger details. The presence of the monks always confused me. To whom do they belong? Are they fellow competitors? Are they students of Shang Tsung? Who are these guys? Maybe they're just spectators. I lean towards that since they clap at the end of each round, but then again, it's pretty common for monks to be in a uniform and be bald, so who knows? Then you have Shang Tsung in the background overlooking the fight. I find it weird that he claps in the throne room stage, but not on this one. The arena has really big Enter the Dragon vibes about it, which makes sense since it was one of the movies that inspired the idea for Mortal Kombat, alongside Big Trouble in Little China. Overall, this stage is really nice, and it's a certified Mortal Kombat classic. Next we have the Palace Gates. Again, this is quite a serene stage, even more so with the giant Buddha in the background. I'm a sucker for Buddhist imagery, so it's pretty obvious that I'm a fan of this one. Here's a fun fact about the statue. It's literally just a lawn ornament from a neighbour's yard. I always thought it was drawn in, but on closer inspection, it's obviously just cut out from a photo. The lion statues are a nice touch as well. I think the guards in the background look a bit too small, but I think it's just the perspective that's off. If we move to the right of the stage, we see this big red door. It looks kind of sinister, doesn't it? It's aggressively hot pink. The statues on either side of the door are really cool looking too. Not exactly sure what they're supposed to be, but it all ties together quite nicely. Also noticed the Pac-Man Easter egg on the top of the door. I never knew about that recently, so there you go. Overall, it's a pretty basic stage, but I like it. Next we have the Warrior Shrine. This one is probably my favourite. The statues look really cool, although I do find it odd that Shang Tsung has statues of all the competitors. Did he commission them right before the tournament or during? Seems kinda weird. It would make sense for him to have one for Goro, but for everyone else? Anyway, the moon in the background is huge and purple. Purple's my favourite colour, so that's a plus. Also, who's the ninja on the left? Is it Scorpion or Sub-Zero? Is it Ermac? If you played Shaolin Monks, you'd know. Either way, one of them got shafted out of a statue. Curiously, on the Sega Genesis version, the Liu Kang statue got replaced with another ninja statue. For what reason? Who knows? The trees in the background are really nice. They almost look luminescent. I suppose it's to mimic the effect of moonlight shining on the trees. Either way, it looks great. The stage also appears in Shaolin Monks, but it's not on Shang Tsung's island, which further confuses me. I haven't got much else to say about this arena, but it's definitely my favourite from Mortal Kombat 1. Up next we have the pit, probably the most iconic stage in the game. It's known for one thing, having the only stage fatality in the game. Knocking your opponent into the spikes is super satisfying till its very day. Fighting on the narrow bridge is a thrilling experience, knowing that far below waits a spiky death. Anyway, there isn't a whole lot to go over in this stage, but there is some history within. The moon is super important in this stage, as it's a key to unlocking the secret fight with Reptile. Silhouettes will fly in front of it, stuff like Santa and his reindeer, a rocket, a witch on a broom, a flying saucer, and what looks like flying people, although I'm not entirely sure. In Shaolin Monks, they also included this Easter egg with the characters even commenting on it. The lions on each side are awesome. It looks like they're watching the fight unfold and are ready to feast on the loser. Overall, the atmosphere on this stage is remarkable, and I can see why it's come back in so many other games. As I mentioned, it's been featured in many other games. It's in Mortal Kombat Deception. And there's all the different variations as well, like the Pit 2 and the Pit 3. So you can see why it's super popular. I'll also comment quickly on the bottom of the pit, since that is technically a stage. You only see it when you finally unlock the Reptile secret fight. It's definitely the most gruesome arena, seeing as you're fighting amongst the remains of the unlucky people who fell onto the spikes. I think most, if not all, the bodies and heads are of the people who worked on the game. I can at least see Ed Boon and John Vogel here, who are people who have been working on Mortal Kombat since its very inception. Not entirely sure about John Vogel, if he works on the newer games or not, but he was a person who worked on the series for quite a while. Not many people got to see this in the game, so it is a nice treat to view it for an extended period of time. Here we have Shang Tsung's throne room. This is probably my least favourite of the original arenas, but it's still a pretty good one. I like how Shang Tsung watches the fight intently, like as if he is sizing up the fighters when it's his turn. This room is aggressively red. Do you think Shang Tsung likes the colour red? I think he does. I like how you can see the mountains from the windows. It's a little bit of a detail that makes the world more consistent and real. The dragon logo on the window is a nice touch also. There also appears to be some Japanese art on the walls. I can't really make out what they are, but it looks like that sort of style to me. The throne and the columns are very reminiscent of some scenes from Big Trouble in Little China, which I think is what they were going for. One last thing is that Shang Tsung's clapping is really strange to me. It's like a toddler clapping along to a song. Overall, a cool arena and a nice close look at Shang Tsung before you get to beat his head in. Lastly, we have Goros Lair, another iconic arena in the series. It's drab, it's dingy, it's a dungeon, and that's how it's supposed to be. I can't think of any more D words. I think the detail that everyone sees almost immediately are the glowing eyes in the background. It really provided a sense of mystery for the players. Like, what is back there? Like, what the hell lives in these caves, in these dungeons? I say provided in past tense because Shaolin Monk shows us what lurks in the shadows. I almost wish it was kept a mystery. It just makes the stage a lot creepier. By the way, what was in the background were creatures called Onis. They're pretty dumb, they're pretty goofy, and they're honestly not that scary. Also, who is that poor sap that died on the wall? Poor dude is a skeleton. How long has he been down there for? Chilling out with Goro probably wouldn't be good for your health. Also, does Goro eat humans? I'd say so, since there are bones strewn along the ground. I imagine that Goro's lair smells really damp and musty. Absolutely disgusting. You honestly don't see much in this stage, and you don't really have to. Your imagination does half the work, and that's what I like about this stage. You also see this stage in Shaolin Monks, as I mentioned before, and also in Mortal Kombat Armageddon and Mortal Kombat 4, although I think the Mortal Kombat 1 iteration is the most iconic and memorable. And now we've reached the conclusion of Mortal Kombat 1 stage analysis. All in all, this game has some pretty great arenas in it. Not the best, but I think they're hideously underrated. I kinda miss the old Earthrealm setting. It's something different from the usual Outworld backdrop. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Join me next time where we'll go over the Mortal Kombat 2 arenas. I do plan on going over some other games, but I thought I'd start off with Mortal Kombat, since the arenas are filled with so much detail. See you next time!